Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive? This time we're heading back into the world of Squid Game, and let me tell you, Season 2. Oh boy, did it leave us with a lot to unpack.
It really did.
Yeah, I mean, talk about emotional whiplash.
Absolutely, yeah. Those themes from the first season, despair, hope, all that stuff about what it means to be human.
Right.
They just took it and twisted it, took it even further.
Oh yeah, definitely twisted. So many jaw-dropping moments, so many character arcs that had us glued to the screen. We got to start, though, with Jongbei's death, right?
Yeah.
I mean, devastating. And the impact it had on Gi-hun. Brutal.
It was brutal, and it was calculated, too. You know the show's creators. They did that on purpose. Jongbei, he represented that last little piece of hope Gi-hun was holding on to. By taking him away, it's like they just stripped him bare,
Oh, yeah. It felt so deliberate, like they were trying to crush his spirit, leave him with nothing but that despair. And the way it happened, right in front of him. And orchestrated by 001, no less.
Exactly. Powerful, though. Really showed how this game, it just manipulates, corrupts everything, even the purest bonds.
It makes you wonder, though, right? What's going to happen to Gi-hun? Will this loss completely break him, or is it going to fuel his fight against the system?
The classic hero's journey setup. But in this world, this twisted world, who knows which path he'll choose? Speaking of 001, though, can we talk about that reveal?
Oh, yeah.
Mind blown.
Right. The mastermind behind these brutal games,
Right.
playing the harmless old man the whole time.
I know. Oh, Il Nam. Unmasking him. Brilliant twist. Changes how you see the whole first Nan. Chilling, too. Gives you a glimpse inside the mind of someone who just thinks the world is meaningless. Seriously. He went from frail, forgetful, to the architect of this whole horrifying spectacle, like finding out your sweet grandpa is a supervillain.
I know. The writers did a fantastic job, though, with his backstory. You see his past, the tragedy of it, how he got so disillusioned, and then how he ended up with this warped belief that the world's just a playground for the wealthy to manipulate. It does add that layer of complexity, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you almost feel a tiny bit sorry for him, even though what he does is, well, monstrous.
Yeah. It makes you think, though, even people capable of terrible evil, they can come from relatable places. It blurs the lines between good and evil, and that's what makes the show so thought-provoking.
Yeah. So it's holding up a mirror to society, asking, how far would you go?
Yeah.
If you lost everything.
Exactly. And the show doesn't shy away from showing us the different ways people answer that question. Take Kang Sae-bayok, for example, the North Korean defector.
Oh, right. Yeah. She's a survivor, hardened. But there are those moments, right? Those hints of compassion.
Absolutely.
Like when she chose to spare that other player.
Yeah.
Even though it was risky for her, it was like this tiny act of rebellion, against the brutality of the game. Like a reminder that even in the darkest places, humanity can still exist.
Right. She's got this fascinating duality. On one hand, she's ruthless. You can see how desperate she is to find her family. But then she's still capable of showing mercy. It makes her story even more compelling. Tragic, too.
Tragic for sure. And speaking of tragedy, Season 2 had plenty of it. All those shifting alliances, the betrayals, kept us on the edge of our seats. The whole Gi-hun and 001 dynamic, that was especially fascinating.
Oh, absolutely. You realize, right, that 001 was manipulating Gi-hun the whole time, on purpose, pushing him to compromise his morals all for the sake of winning, like some twisted social experiment.
Right, testing his limits, watching him unravel, and then there's the boat captain in the finale, his true allegiance. Oh, talk about a shocker.
That was a clever move.
Yeah.
Shows how deep the game's influence goes, even people seemingly on the outside. Corrupted. It's hard to escape.
Wait, are you talking about the guy who rescued the detective? Tell me he wasn't working for the game all along.
He was, unfortunately. Just another pawn. It just goes to show, even when you think someone's helping, they could be pulling the strings. It's like the whole game is designed to, erode trust, make you question everyone.
Oh, totally. But even with all the darkness, there were those moments of, glimmer of hope, right?
Absolutely.
Some of these characters, they managed to hold on to their humanity.
Yeah.
Even after everything. It's kind of remarkable.
It is, yeah. The resilience, like the transgender soldier.
Right.
Or the gambling addict's mother.
Right.
Inspiring, defying the odds, clinging to life. Proof that even in the face of all that cruelty, the human spirit, it can endure.
And that moment, the mother and son, you betrayed her, right,
Yeah.
during the game. But then they forgive each other. So powerful. Shows that love, compassion, it can exist even in the most broken relationships.
It's a reminder that human connection, it can be a powerful force. For good, even when everything's designed to turn people against each other.
Okay, so we've talked about the emotional toll, the characters who survived. But the ending, though, right? That's the big one. Everyone's talking about it.
Oh, yeah. That finale. Masterclass in cliffhangers. All those lingering questions, the clues, that post-credit scene. They really knew how to leave us wanting more.
I'm still processing that post-credit scene. The male counterpart to the young he doll. What does it even mean?
It's a tease, right? For Season 3, this new figure, it kind of suggests, well, the games are evolving, getting more complex, maybe even more psychologically disturbing.
So it's not just about physical challenges anymore. Like, they're adding mind games on top of everything else.
Exactly. More insidious, targeting the player's vulnerabilities. And Keel-Soo, that's what they call this new doll, right? It might even be a way to, challenge gender roles. In their twisted world, at least.
Oh, man. Just thinking about the possibilities, like they're saying, get ready, things are about to get even more intense.
It's a bold move, but it worked. Got everyone talking and wondering what twisted games are next.
So with all these reveals, the cliffhanger, where does this leave Gi-hun? Can he break free? Or is he just, destined to be consumed by the darkness?
That is the question, isn't it? At the end, he's on the verge of a breakdown, it seems. But there's still that spark, right? A spark of defiance.
It's like he's caught between the reality of the games and this desire for something more. For meaning, maybe redemption.
He's struggling. Trying to navigate this world that seems determined to break him.
So is there hope for him? Could he, dismantle the game from the inside?
He could. I mean, he's resourceful, resilient too. And he's seen it all, right? The horrors, maybe that gives him an edge. He chose not to get on that plane at the end, remember? He's clearly going to confront the organization somehow.
Right. And he still cares. He's willing to risk it all to stop the games. He hasn't lost sight of what's important.
Right. And the alliances too, remember? Unexpected, but they formed. Maybe those connections, fragile as they are, and maybe they're the key to his survival.
Those alliances, yeah, they did give me some hope. Especially with how alone he felt at the beginning. It's like the game, it tried to divide everyone, but it accidentally created this network of resistance.
It's the power of connection, even in the craziest situations.
So Gi-hun's path, yeah, it's uncertain, but he's not alone. And maybe that's enough to tip the scales. Which I guess brings up a bigger question. Why should we care about these fictional characters and what happens to them?
Because they reflect something about us, don't they? Even though it's exaggerated, it's heightened drama. Feeling trapped, impossible choices, that darkness inside ourselves, we all relate to that.
It's true. The show taps into those fears, those anxieties. Reminds us that the line between watching and participating, it can be pretty thin.
It makes you ask those uncomfortable questions. What would I do? How far would I go? What would I sacrifice?
Yeah, chilling thought. But that's what makes it so compelling. Makes you confront the darker side of human nature. And the systems that exploit us.
And it reminds you, you're not alone. We all face challenges, make mistakes. We all have the potential for good and bad. Squid Game, it's like a safe space to explore all that.
Yeah, like holding a mirror up to society.
Showing us everything, the good, bad, the ugly. And hopefully, if we engage with all that, we understand ourselves better. And the world, too.
All right, so we've covered the emotional impact, the twists, the characters, the big questions the show asks. There's one more thing, though. Crucial element. The masks.
Ah, the masks. So visually powerful. The guards, the VIPs, their animal faces, everyone hiding who they really are.
It's like they symbolize the dehumanizing part of the game, right?
Yeah.
Strip away your identity.
Yeah.
Create this anonymity.
Exactly. Make you think about identity. What happens when you lose your sense of self? When you're forced to conform?
Oh, that's deep. Like the game's trying to turn us into drones. Mindless. Just following the rules.
And I think that's the warning, right, at the heart of it, about power, greed, systems that value profit over people.
It's a powerful message, for sure. And one that definitely hits home,
Yeah.
in today's world.
Absolutely. And look, as we wait for Season 3, right, keep those themes in mind. The masks, the literal ones, yeah, but the metaphorical ones, too, the ones we wear in our own lives.
Right.
Question the systems, the ones that run our society. Ask yourself, what role do I play? Am I helping things continue or am I challenging them?
Powerful stuff. So listeners, as you go about your day, your life, remember, be mindful. The masks you wear, the choices you make, the games you might be playing, maybe without even knowing it.
It's true.
It's a good reminder that we all have a responsibility to be aware of the forces shaping the world and the choices we make because of them.
Yeah. And Squid Game, it's like Exaggerated, of course, but it shows us all that. Those forces what we do.
Right. It's not just entertainment. It's like a wake-up call
It is.
to be more critical, more aware, and in the end, more in control of our own lives,
Couldn't agree more. So, as we wrap this up, our deep dive into Season 2, I want to leave you with something to think about. Can Gi-hun break free from that cycle? Or will the darkness win? And maybe even more importantly, what choices will you make when you face your own games in the real world?
That's a question that sticks with you, huh? Even after the credits roll, makes you look at your own values and the systems, all the things that influence us.
Remember, it starts with being aware. If you recognize the games, the ones being played around you, you can start to choose, make better choices, maybe create a world where those games don't have so much power over us.
Powerful way to end things. And on that note, we'll say goodbye. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, Squid Game Season 2. A lot to think about.
It's been a pleasure talking all this through.
Until next time, everyone, keep your minds sharp, your hearts open, and never stop questioning the world around you.